My name is Keith Ferguson, and I serve as the lead pastor at Cityview Bible Church, and I'm here with my wife, Barry, and we are so excited that Cityview is celebrating its 15th anniversary.
Woo!
God has been faithful to the Cityview family over the last 15 years, and we give God all the praise and glory for what He has done to this community of faith. He has been writing a story, and now you are part of that story. From the beginning, Cityview has existed to reach every man, woman, and child in Greater Austin with the life-changing reality of Jesus Christ. Our prayer is that remembering our past will help you find your place in the Cityview story. Welcome to our family and this exciting journey of faith.
Hi, I'm Keith Ferguson. I'm 14 years old. I'm the pastor. Hi, I'm Keith, the lead pastor of Hill Country Bible Church, Round Rock. In any way we can serve you and help you on your journey toward God, we want to do that for you.
The Cityview church planting team moved to Round Rock in 2006 to be a part of the residency program at Hill Country Bible Church, Austin.
We were attending Hill Country Pflugerville at the time, and I remember it was Father's Day of 2006, I guess. They brought this young kid up, it was Keith, to preach on Father's Day. And we had heard rumblings at Pflugerville that they were going to do a church plant, specifically in Round Rock, and we lived in Round Rock. And I can remember Keith preaching that, and I'm looking at Heather and going, okay, if this guy's the church plant pastor, we're sold, we're in. And like the next week is when they announced, hey, you remember that pastor that was here last week, Keith Ferguson? He's going to be the one planting in Round Rock. So I had to put my money where my mouth was.
I can remember sitting at the first meeting that we had in the community room where Keith and Barry lived. Keith had us up just like this, and I have no idea what his question was, but I remember my answer, and my answer was, I'm looking at a group of people that I don't know very well. I'm very scared about coming and doing a church plant, but I know that the group of people that I see right now will become my very close friends, and they did.
God provided an amazing meeting location at the Round Rock YMCA, and we launched our first service on September 9th, 2007.
The first Sunday we were in the small gym, and there was about 100 of us in that. So the small gym was probably the size of the foyer right now, if that big. So imagine 100 people in there, and Keith is like 2 feet from you. But it was set up, tear down.
Remember, it was when we did training of unloading the trailer, and the person who was training us said, "Oh, on any given Sunday, once you get going, it's only going to take like 45 minutes to set up and tear down." Well, it took a little bit longer than that.
I was raised Catholic, and so I was used to this routine of Catholic church. There's the sitting and the kneeling. Come to Cityview, and it was like all this, it was almost like a rock concert type of thing. It was just energy, and it was alive, and you just kind of felt like, whoa, this is different. I think I like church now.
We just felt so comfortable and so at ease when we got here. Just so many friendly people, and felt comfortable with our kids being here, and genuine people. And then, Keith being able to baptize my mom, and then she passed, within a few months of that, actually. And then he wrote in his blog post about her and just how he knew she was going to heaven. And that helped me because I really struggled with her death. But I don't know, that was just a really neat and sweet time because my mom, like I said, my mom and dad weren't always in church. But yeah, we've just, I think, always felt comfortable since then. And then Eben and I, we actually rededicated ourselves to Christ, our lives to Christ, and that's when we got baptized in the pool. And then we've seen our kids be able to do that here, so it's pretty cool.
On our second birthday, we moved into the big gym at the YMCA, and we commissioned out our first church planter.
Hill Country Round Rock North, now Cityview, has been in the planting business since the second year, I think. And it's part of the DNA that church planting is part of where we have come from and where we need to go.
It's God's people that make up the church body. So when you are supporting and praying for, financially backing these different churches, your heart goes with them.
God was good to help us establish a strong leadership development pipeline and to start our outreach ministries into the community. During these early years of the church, Cityview also worked hard to establish partnerships with other churches in Round Rock.
We've had the privilege to be part of a lot of good churches, but none of them have had the focus of reaching the whole city and working with other churches to do that as well, and it not just being about growing our church, our little C church.
God expanded the reach of Cityview through sending people on mission at home and abroad. We also launched the Cityview Marriage Ministry, which has been a powerful, life-changing set of discipleship programs in our congregation. After 5 years in the YMCA and multiple church plants, the Cityview elders started looking for land that would provide a place for a permanent location for Cityview. We did a 2-year land campaign to pay for 20 acres of land, and then we did a 3-year building campaign for the down payment on our facility.
Everyone seemed to sacrifice so much. The giving commitments were huge for people. They would do these kind of occasional updates with a slide of, how we're doing and how much further. And it wasn't just for the building, but it was also just our regular fund, because you kind of forgot there was actually 2 things happening. There was giving for the building and giving for the general fund. And looking at the slides and just being amazed they were always at, or it was usually always over. It was like, wow, this is really cool, because we didn't have near as many people at that time, right?
The church is covered with scripture and names of people we wanted to bless by inviting them to the new building. So I thought that was really cool.
We had an Easter Sunday under the tent out on the property, and that was such a new thing for us. It was so exciting, and I think we had like over 1,000 people.
It was almost like part of kind of being like with Moses and the Israelites as we're sort of journeying, to this promised building that we're moving toward, just to anticipate a permanent home. And I think God really blessed our patience.
It was really a surreal experience because we had been at the Y for about 4 to 5 years, and it was just really cool to see our congregation raise the money and build the building ourselves. And it was just really surreal for me to realize that God gave us the goods to build this building.
I remember walking in for the first time in disbelief that this is where we were going to meet on Sundays now, and that there was no more setting up, tearing down, and that there was all these rooms. I remember running through the church and being like, wow, there's so much to explore.
After moving into our building, Cityview experienced rapid change, both serious growth and significant challenges. God was both growing the church and pruning the growth. We have walked through significant staff turnover and the challenges associated with the 2-year pandemic. In addition, we have welcomed lots of new faces into the Cityview family and lost some long-term families. We have also learned how to use our facility to be a blessing to our community.
In this next chapter, God is calling us as a Cityview family to be externally focused. We have always desired to reach every man, woman, and child with the life-changing reality of Jesus Christ, but we also have to be a church that is for every man, woman, and child in this greater Austin area.
Everywhere we drive around Round Rock, there's construction, and that construction represents continued growth in our community, and sometimes more than we would prefer, probably. But what's exciting is there are people from all over the country and literally all over the world who are moving into Round Rock, and that represents people who need a home church and they need to hear about Jesus.
On the wall it says, we're a community of believers here to reach every man, woman, child with the life-changing reality of Jesus Christ. And Keith has added, of course, we're multi-ethnic, intergenerational church, and that was important for me. We can't say every man, woman, child, and the only people reaching is white men, or the only people reaching is black men, the only reason, and I think that was our conviction in our heart as God was calling us to church planning, is if we say every man, woman, and child, what does that look like in practice and in us being intentional in the church?
You see the generational diversity, you see the ethnic diversity, and you see it in the staff, you see it in the church culture, you see it in the music, which I feel like that one is very difficult to attack. And they're doing it, and they're doing it well. And I feel like they're so intentional about reaching everyone, and that has been a major draw for me, especially since we are here now. And I'm like, okay, Like, they're not playing around. They're putting their money where their mouth is.
Just to walk around our neighborhood and see the diverse opportunities that are inside of our neighborhood, and to know what Cityview is working towards, and to know that that's right here. It's not something that's a huge stretch. It's not something that's going to be too challenging if everybody works at it.
What excites me the most about the next 15 years is the number of church plants that we're going to be able to plant, straight up. Yeah, this is my plug for Joseph. So there's somebody sitting in the audience right now that you're going, I heard that guy preach, I wonder if I should follow him. The answer is yes. Go with him, and then in 15 years, I guarantee you'll be sitting filming a video about how that church started in a small high school somewhere and has now grown and is making a huge impact in the city that they're going to be in. So my challenge to you is answer the call that God's put on your heart, and that's the Holy Spirit kind of knocking on you, and answer that call.
What an amazing journey we've been on these last 15 years. What will God do in the next 15? We know that God has brought you to the Cityview family for a reason. The Lord is calling us to be a light to all those around us in our words and our actions. If the past is any indicator, we know that the future will be both exciting and unpredictable. But we also know that God will be faithful. What role do you believe God is calling you to play in the next chapter of our story?